didn't take.
What up, everybody? Hey, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with us right now. That's why we love you guys like fat kids love cake. Glad you guys are here, man. Listen, if you weren't excited before these moves, you better start getting excited. And for all you fair weather Bears fans, look, it's too late to get on the bandwagon now. We moving a little too fast, you're gonna hurt yourself. So don't come riding now. Do not come riding now. We coming with it, man. And that I told you I'm gonna pick up where I left off last night. Told you guys last night, if you thought just for a second that might have been a move because they Flu saw something or didn't see something in camp, you probably be mistaken. And I'm more assured about that today after listening to him in the pressure. That was a power up move. I believe that 110%. That was a power up move. They like what they have, and they added to it. Brought in some talent to, as Flus likes to say, iron sharpens iron. Who is that? It's not an indictment on anyone. I think it's a move to pressure Dominique Robinson to step his game up. For whatever reason, he probably will feel the most pressure, and he's already getting, caught. he might have to give up his number, but we'll see about that. It's going to cost him a little bit of money. But once again, glad you guys are here, man. Samuel, I'm excited as HE double hockey sticks now. Y'all thought Nomad was optimistic before. You ain't heard nothing yet. Go ahead, Sam.
Yes, sir. I'm with you, man. I hear you. Everything you said is what I heard from Flus as well, man. He talked about competition, which is what we talked about last night, bringing out the best in everyone. And you know what, Don Rob, I'm not down on Don Rob, man. I think this is a move that's going to help Don Rob. He's going to have to give up that number. And guess what I'm going to ask him to do? Dog, we studying together every day. I'm going to be like your little brother. I'm going to be in your back pocket. Everything you do, I'm going to do. I'm going to figure everything out. I'm going to learn from you now. I don't need the cash. That's the way I'm going to make my money. You giving me $10,000 for this number is not going to help me as much as, giving me the game.
Hey, man, he got number 91. All his family is like, yo, you get drafted out of Ohio, number 91. Everybody got the Robinson 91s.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not the veteran. So I guess he got to unask the number. Is that the way that works?
Yep.
Man, hey, listen, man. I got even more encouraged when I heard him at the press. It's not like he went up there and made proclamations or anything like that. It wasn't that. It was the little details of actually how he got here and the things that the person that he was studying, which I found to be interesting. I'll tell you why in just a second. The fact that it probably went through Coach Marinelli. Something about the connection between Coach Marinelli influencing him, like, hey, man, this is the place you want to be. Here's the reasons why you can help this team this way, that way. And, his connection with Coach Marinelli probably is the key to why he's here. And, and one thing that stuck out to me during that presser, he said how much he was studying Julius Peppers. And I didn't go look at any tape because I still have Julius Peppers coming off the line of scrimmage in my head. And it is so eerily similar. There's a technique that they both use. It's like you're looking at the same person. It's only one is bigger. there's a when they come off the line, Peppers and Ngakoue, they come off the line, and at the point of contact, there's a hop. And at the same time, there's a slap chop to kind of release and get around the edge. It is if you guys want to check out something, go check out the similarities between those two. You will see exactly what I said. I'll say it one more time. There's when he comes off the line of scrimmage and he's coming down, he's about to make contact with the tackle. There's a hop, and simultaneously there's a slap chop to release, and he gets around the corner. Just watch that on tape. You'll see Julius Peppers all day long.
Yeah, they call that the cross chop move, man. And it's a hard move to be able to use, man, because your feet and your hands have to be mirrored up. And it's really a move to hit offensive linemen that set their hands low, that are bringing their hands up. You know, as they're coming, as you're moving forward, you take that first big step and they're bringing their hands up. You want to chop down right away with an open hand too, because if they are starting to get their hands up, you want to grab. So you don't want to have it as a fist. It's not a fist chop. It's not a pound. That's why they call it a chop. You want to try to chop those hands down. And if you can't chop them, you're going to grab them. And as you simultaneously grabbing them and pulling them towards you or pulling them back in, you want to grab that shoulder blade, push it in, and then turn that corner and dip and rip it, or, just little descriptions of how that move actually works. But it's very effective, but you have to know how to perfect it. And by all accounts, he's a guy who's perfected that move, and lots of players in the NFL try to imitate that move.
He's a professional defensive end pass rusher. That's what that's his job. That's his job description. That's what he does. And I don't recall Smitty in the chat hearing Nomad saying that he was Julius Peppers, that he has moves like Julius Peppers and get-offs. So calm down. And also a shout out to all the Nomadiacs out there. And where goes one in Plank? Good looking. They were in the Chicago Bears press conference chat shouting us out, the Nomad Network. That's love right there. But yeah, I mean, we have now a veteran presence who knows the game, who's been around the league, knows all the tackles, knows how to study, how to game plan. And, aside from the coaches, now Dom Rob and the other young DNs, DA can look up to him. But my question is still, we signed this guy, Ngakoue and Marcedes Lewis, but who's gone? There's roster numbers, and I'm just still curious about that because nothing's been announced.
Well, there are definitely shoes to drop.
Yep.
Who they will be is anybody's guess. I mean, we're going to get to Marcedes Lewis here in a minute. I want to talk a little bit more about Yannick and what kind of effect. And it was said, Flus made it clear today, he's a 3-down defensive end, so he's not going to use him like a pass rush specialist. He expects him to be able to set the edge as well. And I believe that question was asked to him during the presser today. Somebody asked him that directly, and he said, "You'll see when the season starts." And so pretty clear, he was just like, "Yeah, I'm not worried about that." And I think, looking at him on tape, there are glaring times when he got kind of washed out of a play because of a double team, or a really big guy got hands on him and he could never release. There are those times, but there are also just as many times when he absolutely dominated somebody and set the edge just as well. And so it's up and it's down, just like any defensive, and you're not going to win every rep. So I wouldn't be so quick to brush him with that. He's not a edge setting defensive end label. I think we ought to just wait and see how he develops here with this front line. Now here's another thing, Samo. I keep thinking to myself how much of an impact he's going to make on the defensive front, the linebackers, and the secondary. See, it's the secondary and the linebackers who will probably benefit the most. Yannick himself will probably benefit the most from the guys on the interior, the big bodies in there. And so it's going to be one-on-ones. He's going to create them because he's going to get a lot of double teams. So you got those big guys in the middle. I mean, so it's just win-win all over the field, adding that piece to the puzzle.
Right, man. And again, he's not Julius Peppers. We're not saying he's Julius Peppers. There was a question asked to him today, which Bears players or pass rushers has he looked at, and he specifically brought up Julius Peppers because he said that Rod Marinelli, who used to be the Bears defensive coordinator and coach Julius Peppers, stated that, they have a lot of similarities, and that, he sees a lot of him, Julius Peppers in him, and that he just needs to bring it out. And which he has to an extent, man. The guy has the pass rush ability. Flus specifically stated today that he's not worried about him as a run stopper, and I think they vetted him. They vetted him well. They went out and spoke to people who they're comfortable with and people who they trust. So I trust that those conversations were candid, and, they know enough to feel comfortable to sign him to a $10 million contract. I think that he is going to come in. I think he's going to make not just the defensive lineman better, but the entire defense better. Like you said, he's going to present opportunities for that ball to come out early for those linebackers and for the DBs alike.
Yeah, definitely, because when you have now someone who's known to be able to rush the quarterback like that, that internal opposing quarterback class is going to be going faster, which is only going to give the secondary and linebacker core more opportunities to, jump routes, be able to read and anticipate, or, just being able to use the hits principle and close on the ball and create those turnovers because of the rush offense. So, it's all good all the way around. It's a one-year deal. We're not tied to them. If we want to draft somebody next year, sign somebody, we can. If we want to extend them, we can. So the options are wide open, and that's another reason why the power of polls compels you.
I'm going to give you guys an interesting nugget, and this is a little bit detailed, and it's about the base defense that we play. And I'm giving you my reference based on me playing in it and being a DB. The most important three things for a DB is to learn. And this is coming from a guy that played a whole lot of man-to-man in high school, played a bunch of bump and run. The three things that are the most important is learning leverage. And I'll explain each one to you. Leverage, alignment, and knowing where your help is coming from. You can be as physically gifted as you want to be as a defensive back in that defense. But if you don't understand that concept, you are just an average player out there. The minute you get that down, you understand the coverage and the concepts, you become a different player. I changed immediately once I got it down. Okay, so leverage. Say I'm playing nickel base cover 2, right? I'm understanding that behind me, if I shade to the right of a receiver, let's say he's lined up on the right side. If I shade to the right of a receiver, that's with the understanding of knowing if I flush him inside, I have help. I'm playing in a space, right? Alignment. It's like where you are in relation to the boundary out there and yourself. How much space are you giving yourself? How much time are you going to have to react to a player in front of you? You learn that. And the most important thing is just knowing where your help is coming from, behind you, to the left or right of you. Once you get those concepts down, and we got a bunch of young guys in that secondary, they're starting to get that understanding of that right now. Once that comes together, now you're starting to play defense on offense. Offense on defense, rather. And you can kind of look at the play in front of you, see what the pass rush is looking like while plays are coming towards you, and gives you an opportunity to know timing and know when and when not to jump on the route. So when they get gelling and Ngakoue he's kind of ingratiated himself within the defensive line, they'll start to understand that. And they'll know when and when not to jump routes. They know if it's a 3rd and 8, Yannick gonna come screaming off the edge. He's got like probably 1 to 2 seconds before he's on the quarterback. You know you can jump short stuff. So that's the relation between him and what he brings to the table and the concept of that defense and why the defensive backs should really eat.
Yeah, man. That's why, the Bears decided to go and get that guy. They needed a guy who they knew was going to put pressure on an offensive line. we have guys who have been stepping up in training camp, but there is no name that commands a double team or commands a defensive coordinator to go and say, you know what, we need to focus on this guy on the defensive line this week to make sure that we're stopping him on obvious run plays. Now we do have that guy. So these other guys who are still developing, who we have, who by all accounts are doing well, but let's be honest, they're still developing. So now it gives them the opportunity to get some one-on-one situations in which they can win as well on the other and all the other positions on the defensive line. And then there's going to be a rotation of guys. So everybody's going to stay fresh. So this signing helps the entire defensive line and the entire defense. Like I saw J2K say about the NASCAR package, which is the package that you bring in, the set of 4 defensive linemen that are going to be in on obvious passing situations. And I can't even think of, what 4 combination of guys is going to be out there, but it's going to be nice. I'm guessing, of course, Yannick and probably DeMarcus Walker may even kick on the inside in that NASCAR package. And then we don't know who those other 2 guys are going to be yet, but there's going to be 4 guys out there who can all beat one-on-one battles. You better believe that.
The option. Go ahead, Nick. Trip.
I can't find the comment right now, but somebody mentioned that this Ngakoue signing elevates that D-line room, much like DJ Moore elevated the wide receiver room, because now you have a respected professional that you're going to have to pay attention to, which leaves the other guys the opportunity to make those one-on-one plays. So, being able to have the young, have the old, the veteran, the presence, well spent. This is a very, very good deal for the entire defense. And, hopefully we'll make even more shorter fields for our offense to eat.
Yep.
Hey, if you haven't yet, like, share, subscribe, hit your notifications, man. And if you didn't watch the news broke last night when we were on live. And one of the things I remember saying on that show was, it's going to be interesting to me to see what the reverberations in the locker room would be like. What are the players on the team? How do they feel about it? Are they upset because they were hoping Dominique Robinson would get the job? You didn't feel any of that. When you saw Eddie Jackson go to the podium today, he was giddy. He was absolutely giddy about getting that in the locker room. He's talking about Jaquan texting him first thing this morning, 8 in the morning. He just turned up because, that energy, man. Listen, man, when I talk about football and defense, man, I'm always looking for energy. Eddie is so giddy about this defense. And people were asking us last night, how does that compare to the 2018? I believe somebody asked that actually in the press. Somebody actually asked that question in the press. He said it's totally different. He said these young guys, man, they got so much energy, man. Everything is turned up. It's just, with that much youth on your defense, you would think that it's going to be an inhibitor to how well you can play. I don't think so at all. That youth brings you juice. It just makes guys play harder. And so I just love that energy, man. And every day that goes by and I keep seeing the reactions from these players, man, my antennas go way up, man. I feel validated about my high expectations for this team.
Yeah, you can see it all in Eddie's face, man, and hear it in his voice, man. He was excited about this team, man. He was specifically asked about, like you said, that 2018 team, which we had that conversation last night as well. And he stated, like, there is a big difference, and he feels like this team is a little bit, better. It might be a little bit more hype. He says the addition of Khalil Mack, they got a lot more juice. He says that additional Khalil Mack, gave them a little juice last, in 2018, but this team has juice everywhere. And he specifically pointed to, the age and these guys all being young, but them being dogs and them bringing it and them wanting to be great, man. And he's excited. We're excited. So, man, I'm just ready to see him go on the field, man. I'm ready for that first preseason game. I'm ready to go beat the Packers. I'm really ready to get to game 3 because I want to see that's going to be the real test to me.
See, I enjoyed Bojack's press conference because I get to learn the new terms that the kids are using nowadays, and it's like up, it's up, it's up.
It's up. Yeah, it's up.
And it's
That's
like,
what he
okay, I
said.
guess
Yep.
that's supposed to now. So that's a good thing. All the way up. I guess it comes from that. So yeah, I like the energy, and it's not like it's like, oh damn, we brought in another guy, so that's gonna force another guy out or to compete. No, it's all about the competition. Like the flu said, like Bojack said, like everybody said to a man, nobody's guaranteed a roster spot. If somebody comes in and beats you out, you're gone. And so the professionals understanding that and knowing that, hey, our team got better, even though for some players it may not be so nice, that's just the way it is.
And before we switch subjects and talk a little bit more, we can get back to Yannick in a little bit, but before we get to the next subject, I think with the Marcedes Lewis signing, Marcedes Lewis was the breaking news this morning. 1 year, I think $2 million or something like that. That I think, and don't quote me, I think that put us at about a $5 million floor, and it kind of leaves room for another move to be made. And if it's me, if you want to ask me a question about what I think they might do with that money, to me, I think it'll be an insurance move. And if smart money says they will hold on to that to see what kind of move they may need to make or not on the O-line later on in the camp, you know what I mean? But that's what smart money would tell you. But who knows what they'll do with that money, if anything at all. They can add it to the salary cap later, but that would be smart money that I feel like they probably hold on to that to see if they need to make a move on the O-line.
Yeah, I agree, man. This team still isn't complete, man. That's what I'm going to say. The addition of Marcedes Lewis, that was a good signing because now we have depth at that position, at the tight end position. And not only we have depth, we have quality depth. And a guy who understands the system, he's a great run blocker at tight end position, which is going to help those deep, all young offensive tackles as well in the passing game because he can help out there as well. So I think that was a great signing. And as far as, what we do with that fight, with the additional cap money that we have, the sky's the limit. I don't think we're finished building out this team. I think Ryan Poles is going to uncover every stone to see, who's going to be released because every year, that there are surprise releases during right before the season. And then we also have that waiver wire. So, we have a lot of opportunity to even build more depth on this team and possibly even add another quality starter to this team. So I'm excited about that.
Hey, first, let me give a shout out to Charles. He said he's had 3 strokes this year, and that watching us is making the road to recover much more pleasant. Keep that pressure down, Charles. We want you here all season.
Good vibrations.
Absolutely.
Good vibrations, man.
Wish you well, brother.
Indeed. And as far as the money goes, just because you got it, don't mean you got to spend it. As long as you're at that floor, we want to have that financial flexibility that if somebody does on the waiver wire says, hey, I got cut from this team, now I'm available. Oh, damn, you good. They got a change of scheme or you get squeezed out, but you're a good player. We want to have that money to be able to say, yeah, come on in. And if the more that we're able to accumulate, going forward, let's not forget that Justin Fields, if he's the guy that we all hoping that he is, he's going to command $300 million. So we're going to need some money to be able to pay him and the rest of the players. So we want to have that nest egg to be able to do that and have that flexibility. So planning long-term beyond this season, you don't want to spend it all, but you do want to improve your team where you can.
You know something, man, and I don't think and people don't really that Marcedes Lewis is a large man. That guy is somewhere between 6'6", 6'7", probably more 6'7", about 270. That is that's like having an extra offensive lineman. So to me, I think there's how Poles like to call guys multipliers. I think he's a multiplier in ways that J2K pointed out that, he can help Cole Kmet be more of a receiving tight end. And so in the running game, he's definitely going to be a strong addition. However, you got a guy like that, and he's got really good hands too. you can also
Mm-hmm.
slip him out. People will get so used to him blocking in line that they'll get comfortable with that, and boom, next thing you know, he releases off a block and he's wide open somewhere. Seen that a million times in Green Bay. But I mean, it's just so many different ways that this guy's going to help. So you remember earlier in the week, we signed a guy, Jared Pinkney, the Vanderbilt guy. I think he played on a couple different teams, Dallas being one or Detroit, one of them. But there's something going on in camp. They weren't liking what they were seeing in the blocking tight end game. And so to me, that's a move in reaction to what they've seen thus far in camp when the pads went on.
Yeah, man. And we know that Chase Allen is also out right now. We don't know what he's dealing with. So you have to go out and sign someone. So why not sign a guy who knows the system and who the coaches are comfortable with, and in his ability. Aaron Rodgers was begging the Jets to sign Marcedes Lewis, but I don't know what happened with that and why they decided not to do it. But Aaron knows that this guy is valuable and that he still has some juice left in the tank. And I'm glad that it's now in our tank, and we're gonna see where it goes. Like you say, he could still be a red zone threat as well. So looking forward to it.
It strikes me as like, wow, this dude is they call him Big Dog, and he must be a beast because he's 2 years older than our general manager, Ryan Poles. And he's still playing professional football, pushing 40. So, hey, man, do your thing. Happy to have you aboard. I hope you spread some of that gained 18 years of NFL experience knowledge throughout the room. And, it's, $2 million for a year, with his experience, with his talents and skills. Come on, y'all. Say it with me. The power of polls compels you.
Hey, man, listen. The power of polls compelling me to say this. I think the offense, by far, to me today, and we're going to shift into some camp notes. I think the offense looked to be dominant today. They said it was a little bit of up and down, but overall, the offense pretty much dominated the day. One interesting thing I seen, and Braggs, I think, won the note-taking battle today on Twitter, but I think a hard second is probably Zach Pearson from NBC. However, one note that I particularly took down today, and it stuck out to me. Some guy on Twitter asked him, from your observation at camp with your eyes on the talent out there, what really stuck out to you? What surprised you? 2 names came to his mind. First one was Tyler Scott. The other one was the guy we've been talking about forever. I know a bunch of people ran and made a whole bunch of short videos trying to claim like they knew about Terrell Lewis before I did, but you damn didn't. I did. So Terrell Lewis was the other name. So he stuck out to Braggs. Braggs been out there seeing everything from a bird's eye. Apparently, Terrell Lewis is making a name for himself. I've seen that more than 4 or 5 times on Twitter.
Yeah, man. Some players are late bloomers. And I'll just say that, Terrell Lewis has been in the league. This is his 4th year in the league now. And it sounds like, he's kind of started to figure things out. There's another player that comes to mind, man, when I think of guys who just figured things out late in their career and just turned it on and had a great career after that. And there's one guy in particular, Shaquille Barrett. Is it Barrett? Yeah, Shaq Barrett down in Tampa Bay. When he got to Tampa Bay, before he got to Tampa Bay, he was a 3-sack guy. He goes to Tampa Bay and immediately, I don't know what snapped in this dude's head, but he gets 19 and a half sacks that year in their Super Bowl year. And now he had a good offense around him, so they were playing with leads a lot, which gave him a lot of opportunities to rush the passer, but that was just a crazy turnaround. And ever since then, he's been a double-digit sack dude. So, it could happen, man. Maybe something is just turned around for Lewis. Maybe he's developed size and strength and, perfected his technique and his moves. So be on the lookout for this guy. And don't let anyone tell you like, oh, he's just another guy. Look, it could happen for anyone. It happens every year in the NFL. A guy just starts to click and his career totally turns around. So why not Lewis?
Definitely he's got the pedigree coming from, Bama. That's a top-notch minor league pro NFL scouting program. But, he had an injury, happens. So being able to, work and recover from that takes time, and then finding the right situation with the right teams, that's, a task that takes maybe a year or two to happen. And now given the opportunity, he's ready to, show what he's got. And, we're ready for it. And Tyler Scott, that was basically, we traded Robert Quinn for him because of that fourth round pick we got, yep. So that's definitely an upgrade, as far as that's concerned. So, the rookie and now the unproven, somewhat veteran, get the opportunity to say, hey, let me make a name for myself on this Chicago Bears team.
So when you see Cornelius Squalls and J2K saying that Terrell Lewis is playing out of position, let me give a little context to that. Okay, you should consider what a 3-4 is. A 3-4 is not an attack style defense. It's more of a coverage type of defense, gap kind of control type of defense, as opposed to what we do that is driven off the front four, and it's an attack style defense. So the 4-3 is very much one gap attack. Don't attack too far in because you can overrun the play, but it's definitely get up the field, move the line of scrimmage back. That kind of defense suits a guy like Terrell Lewis better because it's very simplified what he's being asked to do, whether he's got his hand in the dirt, or whether he was standing up. It's very simple. You get up the field. And so with that being simplified for him, it's probably making it a whole lot easier, whole lot less thinking. And I'm pretty sure he is thriving out there. We've heard that he was thriving before the pads came on. Now you're hearing that he's still thriving after the pads have gone on. So what's that telling you? He got to the right place, the right time with the right system. And so I do expect him to continue to ascend, and that's probably a whole lot of problems for Travis Gibson because they're probably going to be on the same side fighting for the same job.
Yeah, man, and he came to the right situation. And that's just what it sounds like, man. The dude landed into the right situation at the right time in his career where he had developed his body, he had got healthy, and, now he's starting to ascend. And what better time than now for us to have gotten a guy like Terrell Lewis on our team, and kudos to Ryan Poles and, his team for identifying him as a guy who may have some talent that we can use, man. And I'm just looking forward to seeing it on the field, man, against another team. That's when, all the other pundits and everyone else will say, oh, yeah, maybe we do have something in Terrell Lewis because, everyone's going to be late to the punch. And we know that people like to see it before they say it. I don't know. Some people just can't evaluate that and just or feel comfortable just going out and saying, hey, this dude he's coming to play. And let's watch out for this dude this year.
And, Nomad brought up the name Gibson. We figure that Robinson, he's still on his rookie deal. We just brought in Walker and Green, and now Lewis. The only holdout is Gibson. And I've heard his name a couple times, in camp. So is the injury to Walker serious? Is Gibson being pushed? Who is going to make the roster? Because there's a question, how many D linemen do we keep on the 53? And it's like, ooh, that's a good question, because now with the depth in so many rooms, how many running backs are we keeping? How many wide receivers are we keeping? How many D linemen are we keeping? Because now there is that competition where it's like, oh, wait, these guys are pretty good. But you bring in more guys, it's like, oh, okay, well, these guys are good too. So who wants it? Who's the dog? Who's going to come to the team and contribute the most and make it? And, that's not going to be answered for another 3-4 weeks, and that is a great problem to have, as Lee stated.
So
As he stated right there in the chat, on the Nomad Network, whereas we go live for what day is this?
9, I want to say.
Day
8, 9, 8. All right.
All right, day 8 of the 23-24 Chicago Bears NFL training camp live special, giving you the updates. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And then also you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Podbean as well for you audio listeners. So as the Nomad Network grows and all you maniacs represent around the internet, much love, much respect.
good job, Trips, and ditto to everything he just said. Listen, let's take a little turn. We're gonna bounce around a few different places because I got a bunch of notes. Try to get to as many as I can. Let's shift to the offense because as per the last and another thing before I go there, this was this practice, I think, based on all the information I got, was a heavy install practice. So it was dialed down a little bit to be able to get the plays off, but they were probably going like mid-tempo and they were in shells. So it was a lot to see for the guys that are skill positions like receivers, DBs, and all that kind of stuff. A lot to see there. But for the most part, all the rest of the guys, it was kind of toned down a little bit. Tomorrow they're going to ramp it up. But Justin, connections with Claypool all day. All day it was Justin and Chase Claypool. So any of the people still out there doubting what Chase Claypool is going to bring to the table, I think you're going to be sadly mistaken. That's just my easy way of responding to that. I think you're all going to be sadly mistaken about that. The connections with DJ, the connections with Chase Claypool. Let me see. Let me make sure I got the right names here because I got some pretty specific notes. And he was dropping the ball off a lot underneath to Foreman, Valus, making big plays, just dumping the ball off. One in particular, I got a note that says he was getting heavy pressure from the inside, and he found a dump off to Deontay Foreman for a big gain down the middle of the field, and Flus came out of his skin, clapping and being that's exactly what you want, because that's saying to the coach, now you're starting to get it. Now you're starting to realize that you have enough around you that you don't need to be Superman all the time. You don't need to take off. Just keep your eyes open, keep your eyes on the ball, and you see your playmakers, just drop it off to them and let them do the work. And so they definitely sound like they dominated today. Justin was making great decisions, and he was dumping the ball off, spreading it around pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds like the offense brought the juice today, man. They were fired up. They were firing each other up, is what Justin asked them to do. And the Chase Claypool talk, man, all the talk about Chase Claypool being a bust and this and that, man, I hope everyone's putting that to bed and realizing that, last year, it was just that he had just come into the team late and had to get acclimated to the offense, which by all accounts he has now. So just look forward to him being an integral part of this offense, man. A big body in the red zone, a physical guy on the field, and and allow his speed to take the top off of defenses as well. It's exciting, man. It's exciting to know that Justin has that connection with not only Chase, he has it with DJ Moore, and he already had it with Darnell Mooney. So those are three guys, and it seems like he's developing it with Tyler Scott as well. So man, we have our four top receivers who are all fast guys who are connecting with our quarterback, and he's spreading the ball around well.
Hey, Trip, hold on before you go. I'm sorry, bro. You guys keep mentioning merch. Trust and believe it's coming. Trust and believe me, it's coming. And I'm trying to time it. And another thing is trying to get Chris with enough time. Chris is working all the time and he's doing other things, man. So his time is very limited, but we got that coming. We got logos that we got to put together, a couple of them. And we're definitely going to do trips to Power Polls Compel You in some kind of way, shape, or form. We're going to get that out there for you guys, man. But closer to the season start is where I expect that kind of merchandise to start coming out.
And if you see the Power Polls Compel You on anybody else's stuff, nah, because where it originated. You know what I'm
Not
saying?
authentic. He said that's inauthentic.
Oh, shout out to
Tell them where that all came from, Trip. Remind them where that all came from.
that came from exorcism that Nomad came up with to exercise those past bear demons, for this new era of Hallis Hall and its front office and locker room and all of that. And so on that night of our exorcism, I was possessed. The power of Pose compels you. The power of Pose compels you. And from then, Ryan Poles has done nothing but strengthen that statement by being smart, being prudent, being patient, being fiscally responsible, being a good scout as he is by identifying these players. And we look at the ascendance of Claypool from last season to now, how he's showing out and being physical, knowing where to be. From all reports that I've seen, and another shout out for Braggs because he keeps his notebook basically on the Twitter, and so every play he's typing it in as opposed to everybody writing it down. And so we see Justin Fields getting the ball out quicker, and when it gets into the hands of Valus or Tyler Scott or DJ Moore or Chase Claypool or what's Mooney's first name? Darnell Mooney. Darnell, and then also the quick passes from the backfield with Foreman, with Herbert. So the reports are that once they get the ball in their hands, they are very hard, if not impossible, to catch. So the number of weapons has increased. The knowledge of the offensive playbook has increased. So, therefore, logically, the production shall increase. And, we got to give a shout out to Poles because, at this time last year, coming up to Family Fest, the news was about, Roquan wanting to trade and, us signing, all these bottom of the barrel type guys because of the salary cap situation. And in 1 year later, we have excess cap. We have talent on both sides of the ball with future draft picks in hand, and the way that Poles keeps bringing in veteran guys at positions of question, if not need, and being prudent with saying, hey, I'm not going to, just give you what you want. You come in, we're going to holler at this. You want 12? I ain't giving you 12. Or whatever the negotiation was, we get down to 10, and it's like, all right, come on in, dog. And Ngakoue and Lewis were like, cool. Lewis has the connection with Getsy and Ngakoue with the D-line coaches and all that. So, as Poles builds this momentum for this year, it's only going to carry into next year because while this year is important and competing for the division, it's all about taking the North and not giving it back.
Welcome to the show. We look like we have a new viewer here, Philip Janek. Man, appreciate you for being here. Thank you for choosing us, man. We won't let you down. I promise you that, Philip.
One more thing, real quick. I just want to say, man, to everybody who's buying into that narrative that all the pundits and talking heads are saying, well, the Bears only won 3 games last year, so you can't expect more than 6 this year. You don't make a huge jump. You can't. That doesn't make any freaking sense, guys. Don't listen to that. That doesn't make any sense. You know why? Because last year's team is not this year's team. And that's a fact. We had a bunch of guys who were on 1-year deals last year who are all gone now, and we replaced them with talented guys at every position, either as rookies or as free agents. So this is a completely different team. And then the guys who were on this team last year and learning the offense and the defense for the first time are now in the second year of this offense and defense. So they're going to be better, and then we have a quarterback who's ascending. So don't buy into all of that just because we won 3 games last year. We can't expect to win more than 6 this year. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. This isn't an older team. That's the beauty in what Ryan Poles has built. He was able to foresee, I'm just going to tear it down. This year is just going to be a year where we just go out and compete and see who we have and who we want to bring back. And then next year, the very next year, we're built up, we're stacked, we're able to compete for the division, and quite frankly, I think we can compete for the conference.
Hey, welcome to the show, Mataya. I think it's the first time I've seen him here. I don't know if I think Smitty's been here a few times. I don't know if we acknowledged them yet, but hey, welcome you guys to the show. Thank you for choosing us. I believe you made the right choice. If you like the dynamic analysis that we bring to the table, and we're not fluffing you with all the crap that people do on their podcast, we're giving it to you raw, real football all the time on this network, especially Nomad Live. We're bringing it to you just the way you want it brought to you, giving you the details and explaining the details. And so hopefully you guys are happy with the content, because we plan on producing more and more of it. Now, after that, let me say this. This name is continuing to pop out in camp too. We expected it to happen, but I mean, Javon Dexter is turning heads out there, guys. Yep. He is really turning heads out there, guys. And he's another name that I didn't hear that one from Braggs. I've heard Braggs say it, but somebody else, I just can't remember the reporter's names. But that dude is really turning heads out there, fellas.
Yeah, Braggs can't see everything, man. He's focusing on one area of it. I don't think he's able to see what's being done all over the field. But man, I've heard a lot of good about Javon Dexter pushing the pocket. I think he's had a sack every practice, pushing the pocket. People talking about his strength, his speed, his get off. Javon Dexter is a man child. He's about to ascend in this defense. Having Yannick Ngakoue on that defensive line is going to help him a lot, because, he's going to command a lot of the attention that Javon Dexter could now just beat one guy in front of him. He has the speed. He has the get off now. He has the power. Look, the guy put in a lot of work this offseason. If you follow him on Twitter, if you don't, I advise you to go see all the work this dude put in. I know for a fact it's going to pay off for him because he wants it. The guy's going to eat, man.
Bear Truth 9 wanted to know if Cody was practicing today. I didn't hear that he didn't. So it's my assumption that he was out there. The guys that did not practice that I know of was DeMarcus Walker, Nate Davis, Tevin, Tremaine Edwards. I think Dante Pettis is still out. I believe that's about it. But, some of these guys could be getting pro days. I mean, veteran days. Go ahead, Trip.
The biggest detractor of Dexter coming out of college was his slow get off. Other than that, he was a man-child, a beast out there. And so far in camp, everybody's raving about his get off. It's like, oh, where'd that come from? And there have been comments also that his slack could be heard, across practice fields. Even though they weren't on that field, they could hear that slack. Mm-hmm. And, being that he's so young, he hasn't even fully matured physically yet, and he has these talents and skills. I mean, he has all the potential to be a dominant force in the middle of that line. And I'm looking forward to seeing his development.
There's so many things that we could talk about in this camp, but some of the notable things that I heard today outside of what Bragg said about, what's his name, Terrell Lewis, Tyler Scott and Velus Jones keep shining in practice too. That is such welcome news because they are such dynamic pieces to your offense. And, especially Velus, guys, I got high expectations for Velus because I just think he's a nuclear weapon. I know he is. And the multiple ways that you can apply that guy to your offense. And, one thing is the Bears fan base, we have to quit being so eager to run a guy out of town when something happens with a guy. I mean, that's something that really bothers me. That depresses me, as a matter of fact. I'm like, gosh, I mean, give this guy some time, man. Now that he understands things a whole lot better, man, every day I keep seeing Velus is doing this, Velus is doing that, and it's all good. He may have had a drop or two along the way, but, everybody will have that in training camp. You'd rather have him in training camp than in a damn game. So those two guys are really sticking out to me in my notes.
Listen, Velus doesn't have to be the all-world. He doesn't have to be the number 1, number 2, number 3, or the number 4 wide receiver this year. We could just utilize Velus as a weapon, the weapon that he is, and allow him to be the weapon on special teams that he is as well. So I'm happy with where Bayless is right now. I'm happy that we don't have to rely on him, immediately to be successful in the passing game. But I do expect them to use him as a weapon because that's what he is. He's a weapon out there. You get the ball in his hands. He's not only fast, but he's a big guy, man. He's hard to bring down. So I expect them to, run some plays to, utilize that strength and that speed on the field. Maybe throw him in the backfield every now and then and see what defenses are going to do. Bayless is going to be the man this year. Like no man say, don't get down on that dude. If you are, don't wait till it's too late to turn it around.
In college, Bayless was a wide receiver. He's a wide receiver positionally now. But at the time last year, when Pauls drafted him and they were talking with Justin Fields about him, they didn't label him as a wide receiver. They labeled him as a weapon. And to me, that means, all right, sometimes he's going to be a wide receiver. This year in camp, we've seen him lining up in the backfield. He's doing the jet sweeps. So he's not going to be your typical lineup, as a wide receiver and run that route tree. He's going to be used in multiple different ways that with his talent, size, speed, and skill, as long as he can hold on to the damn ball, he's going to be a problem. And then it's like, all right, well, we got to watch where this weapon Bayless is going. He's on the field. Hey, what about that Scott rookie? I guess we got to single cover him because DJ Moore is over there, and we got, Komet over there. What do we do? What? They just fast, coach. They just we can't cover them all, coach. And I want to hear that from opposing defenses all season long.
Couple other quick notes. Josh Blackwell got a pick on Justin today. Sound like it was a nice one too. Here's another note I want you guys to put this one in your wallet or in your purse, Patty, wherever. Noah Sewell is getting some really good reps and is really flashing out there at Sam. Really good flash out there from Noah Sewell. That's unanimous across the reporter world. That keeps coming up too. So I tell you what, Jack Sanborn better get his ASS together because Noah Sewell is out there making some noise, man, and I love hearing it.
Yeah, you could lose your job in the training room. I don't know what people always say. You can't lose your job in the training room. You absolutely can because now the team gets an opportunity to see what Noah Sewell can do and watch him get better at what he couldn't do the day before. So and take to coaching. So I'm hearing some of the same things. I'm hearing he's looking explosive out there. He's recognizing plays fast. And reacting quickly, and we know what he can do when it comes to rushing the passer from that position. So, hey, Jack, get back, get well, dog, get well, get back on the field.
Somebody made the statement today that Sanborn was standing next to Tremaine Edmonds, and it looked like a father and his child.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
It's like, all right. But, Sanborn was the undrafted talent that is like, oh, wow, this kid can play. Whereas Sewell, he's drafted a little bit higher, and they say, oh, this kid can play. But they all have that linebacker positional versatility that they can jump in all the positions. And Sanborn could, be somewhat demoted to the top backup at all three positions, while Sewell elevated to the starting Sam. I wouldn't be mad at it, and I would hope that Sanborn wouldn't either, but the way it's working out, Sewell is making some plays. And, I see Don Burr up here, so when he goes against his brother, we'll see who the dominant Sewell is in the family.
Sam, you got some start comments that we can get to before we roll out of here?
Yeah, let me see what we got in here. One's asking Yannick like 6'1 or 6'2, 235. Small for a defensive end. No, he's 6'2, like 255. And this is Yannick Ngakoue size, man. 6'2, like 255.
I wouldn't. Go ahead.
What's
Sam.
that? Go ahead. Not too small for a defensive end. Is all
yeah,
I'm going to say.
I mean, he's been that size since he's been a professional. I wouldn't get caught up in his measurables at all. Only thing I do is turn on the tape and he's been effective everywhere he's gone, Demond. So I wouldn't worry anything about that. I know everybody's going to run with the narrative. He's too small to set the edge. All that crap, man. Just keep listening to us and just watch the tape.
All right. Smitty asks, still an interesting question. Why 4 teams in 5 years if his sack total is so consistent? Hey, I got one of the users. J2K answered that question for you right here. J2K says, I'd like to point out the reason Yannick has been playing on 1-year contract has everything to do with following Gus Bradley and teams that has changed, and teams he was on changing schemes and nothing to do with his attitude. So it has nothing to do with his attitude. He was following the coach and teams were changing schemes and, he moved on or they traded him to another team at that point in time.
Hey, real quick, Arturo Arnold, thank you for coming to the show. I think you're new. No, we don't have Super Chat just yet, and we will appreciate you guys when we do upload that, and the donations will be welcome. I don't know, maybe we'll put a Cash App up soon or something like that because guys want to help out, and we can use it, no question about it. We're not going to act like we can't use it because we got to pay bills around here to keep the lights on, but yeah, we'll get something going on with that too. We need everybody to subscribe. That's the main thing, like the content. That'll help us get to where we need to go monetarily. So thank you for asking that question, Arturo. Could we, was that a question?
What was that one?
I don't know. I thought it was a question.
Go back.
Oh, I'm paying no attention. He's talking about Don Bird, man.
Mm-hmm. Whatever. Yeah, that's everybody. Let's see if we got any more in here. I think that's it.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that was it. Anybody got any questions out there they want to throw in before we get out of here?
Well, there was a comment that Lee put that Zach Pearson reported something, but I can't find Zach Pearson. So if anybody has that information, or Lee, can you put it in there? Because I'm not, saying it's true.
Talk for a minute. Let me look.
All right, but the word is that Jalen Holmes was cut to make room for Yannick.
That makes sense if that's the case. And that's unfortunate for Jalen Holmes, man, because I liked his the projection that I thought he might have been able to contribute to the team. But if he has to be the odd man out, we definitely got an upgrade as opposed to a guy that we were only projected. So I feel bad for the young guy, man. I'm pretty sure he was working his butt off, feeling like he was ready to contribute to the team. But, this is the NFL, man. I mean, not for long. You know what I'm saying? When you got to really go out there and earn your stripes. You got to really go out there and show out. Can't take a play off. You need to consistently turn heads out there, like you keep hearing about Terrell Lewis. You keep hearing that about Noah Sewell and Velus Jones and Tyler Scott. You got to consistently turn heads out there to maintain a position in the NFL. So, hey, peace, love, and good vibrations to Jalen Holmes, man. I wish you good luck in your career.
Absolutely, man. Hey, we got a couple more questions. We'll just run through these real quick before we get out of here. Leo Factor says, I got a question. Would you be okay starting off 2-2, losing to the Chiefs and the Broncos? He says he thinks it's a realistic prediction. You want to answer that, Nomad?
Hell no, Leo. Hell no, Leo. Man, the Broncos are in the middle of a turnover.
In a flux.
In a turnover. They got new coaches. They have new schemes on defense. The Broncos have good pieces, but putting those pieces together and having them being functionable is what you're going to have to wait to look for in the early part of the season. Usually when teams do that, I'm so glad we got that part of our rebuild over, and they're in the beginning parts of theirs. And so we'll have to see, but I don't see Denver as a real serious threat to us, but they're an NFL football team. We're going to have to fight them like the rest of them.
Yeah, I would agree with
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I would agree, man. I think we can beat Denver. So I think 3-1 is very doable. And I think 4-0 is very doable too, man. Because let's not forget who's going to be calling plays out in Kansas City, and we know that guy is not a good play caller. So,
and yeah, I see the tweet now. Do you see it, Nomad, from Brad Biggs 5 minutes ago?
No, I didn't see. I got something else going on beside me. I couldn't.
Okay, well, let me read that. Brad Biggs, the Bears have released DL defensive lineman Jalen Holmes to create a spot for Yannick Ngakoue. We will need to make a move for tight end Marcedes Lewis when his signing is official.
It's probably going to be Chase Allen or somebody, Tongus or somebody like that.
You know, because I'm all about the youth and developing the talent. But if you get, players who are not washed and can produce and uplift the talent of the team level, it's like, hey, all right, kid, get back to the lab, get back in the weight room, and keep working because these kids are kids, and so they still have the opportunity to develop and become players. Maybe not on this roster right now, but that opportunity is still there for them.
All right, so let's get one more question in, man. We're gonna get on up out of here because Sam is still on the clock, brother.
Yep, that's right. We're gonna go with this one. Which side of the ball makes the biggest improvement this team? That's a damn good question.
Good question, Smitty. Go ahead, Sam. I'll tell you my take in a second.
The biggest improvement, I think, is going to come from the defense, I think, because the defense last year had the biggest leap to make. We didn't have the ability to stop the run, which made playing defense really hard. Now we have new players and ascending players at every level of the defense. So I think the defense is going to take off.
That's a very difficult question because I see both sides of the ball being improved talent-wise. Defense is more youth, whereas offense is more still has youth, but more developed, more experience. So the offense already was, one of the leading rushing teams all season last year. And so we add in the DJ Moores, the Marcedes Lewises, the Tanyans, the Scotts, the Claypool now that he's up to date. So that should really enhance the point total. And then you look at the defense with the enhanced defensive line, the revamped secondary and linebacker room. And it's like the only thing that they have to do is gel and learn each other's moves in live fire during game time. And then once those factors are in place, either unit could, take measurable steps forward. So I couldn't really answer that.
So I'll give you this, and I'm gonna end this on a high note because I'll tell you one thing, and this is just my experience in that defense and understanding the concept. This is all that's talking and looking at the dominant pieces that they have in certain places. This is just understanding the frame of where I'm coming from, guys. I think not only is the defense going to be the thing that jumps out at everybody. I know everybody's excited about DJ Chase and all that stuff. That's going to be exciting too. But I think this defense, based on the pieces that we have and the piece where these dominant pieces are, in specific, talking about Ngakoue, right behind him is Tremaine Edmonds, ball hawk right behind him, and Eddie Jackson and other ball hawks on the field. I think not only do they stand a chance to be dominant, I think this team has a potential to probably break a record in turnovers. I'm not talking about interceptions. I'm talking about turnovers. Yannick is tremendous if he's not getting a sack, stripping the ball and putting it on the ground. I mean, tremendous at it. His burst around that edge is it is so powerful and fast. I mean, it's unreal at times. And you have tall, long, lanky linebackers like that right behind that. You have Eddie, the ball hawks behind him. Man, I told you this. It would not surprise me if this team broke some kind of record in turnovers, not interceptions, just altogether turnovers. So that's the way I would end it. I think the defense is going to be more powerful.
It's all about the hits.
All right. with that being said, man, let me say thank you one more time to all you new guys that came into the show, all you guys that are regulars, maniacs. Y'all are crazy, and we love you because of that, man. And listen, I can go on and on all day just thanking you guys for all the love and support you've given us, man. It just propels us, man. I'm just going to tell you right now, it's not all your great comments you give us. They don't fall on deaf ears. We appreciate you guys for that so much, man. And with that being said, on behalf of myself, Samo, Trip, and the rest of the Nomad Network, Nomad Live, thank you all again. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Peace.